Yeah.
You don't always know purpose. What you call purpose today, 5-10 years down the line, you might have a clearer vision and you realize that, this is not actually, this is just it's not where you're exactly where you are going. No, it was not only about the economy. It was also about the fact that so many people were not educated.
Yes.
Employers did not have lots of options.
That's true.
I once worked with an Indian firm that they will tell us that if I fire you, 10 people will queue for your position tomorrow morning, even before I put out an advert. So they are even saying that to intimidate you. I am a professional coder and I have been coding for 23 years. Actually, this is just it's not where you're exactly where you're going. So it's about having a life plan.
So for me, basically, it's again also trying to understand the reality that these people are in and how to now get them out of it. Really looking through different people that have related with through school. They've at school time they looked like, okay, this person was going to go in this direction, like I said earlier. But after school, life happens to them. Like when I say life happens to people. But then again, my own point is when life happens to you, how then do you still come back to the reality of things? How then do you still achieve the things you want to achieve?
I like the angle the direction you are taking us to, and it's a very important one because we have two sets of people that are probably listening to us.
Yes, sir.
Those who are still able to do the right things because of where they are,
Yes.
and those who, according to you, life has already happened to
them, and they desire to do the right thing.
We are going to approach the two,
Okay, sir.
one after the other. Let's start with those who still have the opportunity to prepare. So know that out there is very brutal.
Very
During the days of my
dad,
out there. It was a time when you could buy. I mean, they used to sell those things. You buy a 504 for 4,000 something. You could buy 3,000 something or 2,000. Exactly. They had a lot of options.
And it wasn't small money too.
No, it wasn't small money. But you could earn money in Nigeria and buy a new car.
Like as you are being employed, you are already giving
the average big boy.
How will I put it? The economy was easier.
No, it was not only about the economy. It was also about the fact that so many people were not educated.
Yes.
Employers did not have lots of options.
That's true.
So it's like you have a million job for 100,000 educated people. So those people can even change their jobs if they wanted to.
That's true.
You understand? But now we have 50,000 jobs for 50 million people. 50 million people. So it's now survival for the fittest.
Yes.
So out there is now brutal. More brutal than ever. You see, if last year during my birthday, my kids, they said some things that daddy always say this, daddy always say that.
You didn't invite us.
Okay, don't worry. So and then one of them said, won't suffer out there is brutal. One of them was trying to imitate me. That's what I tell them. Out there is brutal. Yeah. And it didn't just start today. We experience it, unlike our parents, who after school start, after A levels, after HSC and all that, they had options. They had jobs and all of that. This time, I once worked with an Indian firm that they will tell us that if I fire you, 10 people will queue for your position tomorrow morning, even before I put out an advert. So they are even saying that to intimidate you. What I'm saying now happened to me about 20 years ago. So you can now imagine today when we have fewer jobs and more population. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that what do you need to do? You need to understand that out there is brutal. So take your study seriously. That's number one. That thing that you are studying, master it. Even you may not be studying for a master's, you may be studying for a bachelor's, but you have to master it. Like Uncle Tok said, he did not read the sciences and everything. Yes. But now he knows carbon dating. He has realized that even some science concept, life is science, life is art, life is everything. You can find everything. So now he says that those things are even very relevant. So what you are studying today, don't think, why am I studying it? There is no point for it. It is irrelevant. Put your heart at it. That is one. Master it. Number two, how do you, when you leave university, you are going into the labor market. Labor market does not fancy your goal. I take that back. Does not fancy your passion, your desires, your aspiration. Labor market is the labor market. You are the one to learn about the labor market primarily. You need to understand that how it works and what it takes to get a job. I put it to you, uncles, auntie, that most people leaving the higher institution today, they don't even know where they are going to apply to for a job. During my time, we bought a Guardian newspaper of a particular day of the week, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, I can't remember. Whenever I had so many Guardian newspapers, I wanted to see the job adverts for the week. That was how we would see the job adverts. They had email addresses and all that, but that was where we would go to. We will get the email address, we will get the phone number, and we will try to contact them. At times, we get their address, go to the place to drop your application. But you see, today, it is a different kettle of fish. So someone who is growing today, who does not know that from your 400 level, you should already have a profile on LinkedIn.
That was what was in my mind that I wanted. I was just waiting for you to land.
To detail your achievements, share your achievements, and connect with people that can mentor you.
Amazingly, employers are poaching. They are poaching, poaching for, employees that have value. And amazingly, from the university, you can start building your credentials.
Yes.
To the point that, the world is a beautiful place right now, because before it was just the four walls of a classroom.
Exactly.
Right now, you can learn way beyond. As you're going through school, you can learn video editing, photography. You can heap,
Uncle Tokes, I don't
skills.
subscribe to that. I believe that if you what you should we have someone in school of thought that says jack of all trade, master of none. You should but there's one that I believe I prefer. It says you should know 100% about one thing and 1% about everything. Know 100% about one thing and 1% about everything.
That will not fly for everybody because of makeup. Wiring. We are differently, wired. That's your
no. The fact that you score a first class,
actually master some trades,
but
jack of all trades. You could actually master.
You could master.
Emperor. It's actually about wiring.
If we understand what Emperor is saying.
No, I understand what Emperor is saying.
A master 100%.
Okay, now let me
knowledge of every.
Now check it out.
Which is very basic.
No, let's look at it from this perspective. Right, for example, I as a person, I can edit videos.
Okay.
I shoot videos. My works are out there. I shoot videos. At the same time, I was an on-air personality on a television station. At the same time, the editor of a magazine. Of course, that time when I am working, I'm like this. Because
you're actually talking about a 40-something-year-old man.
No. Then I was in my 30s.
Exactly.
Okay.
So a 30-year-old man is not a 35-year-old man. A 38-year-old man is not a 19, 20-year-old in the university who has not been burnt. Some of the zeal, what gave you the zeal to face some of those things head on, they have not even been burnt. They still think life is a bed of roses. So an average person out there in school and all that, you see today someone says, I'm a video editor. But he does not even understand. It's not sufficient to say, I know how to edit video. But if you give me a video, I cannot edit it from start to finish and do all the needful. Maybe you can just do one little thing in video editing with one software and you're already impressed. That you have to know the video editing very well, otherwise you cannot make money as a video editor.
Let me say something about that field. I started very late, and that was because of the lost years. And you get to a point as you age that you know that it is for an age group. For example, the likes of video editing and software use is meant for young minds. A time comes, you don't want to sit down editing. I'm talking about you are editing 10, 12, 14 hours for the next 2 weeks. at times you just want to just a time comes as I am right now, even though I can edit. A lot of times I don't want to sit down editing. No. Because I've gone beyond that age. I would rather want to direct and say, you editor, do this for me. The editor already knows I can handle editing.
I want us to bring it back to that undergraduate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the mind of a human is limitless. It is the way you work with your mind that it delivers to you. Because I've seen older people do impressive things that young
Very
people
true.
will do.
I don't want us to digress from we are
So,
talking
no,
to
I'm
a
going back
19
to-
indeed.
I'm going back to what you were saying about the mind of a 19-year-old in school.
Yeah.
It's different
exactly.
from the mind of somebody in their 30s that has been through life, that has been born, that have had hard times, that when they get an opportunity, the way they seize it
Yes.
is different from the way that guy in school will still seize it. Because the guy in school still wants to chop life, do
But
things.
that's the
you know.
reason we're having this podcast.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly. So
That's the reason we are here.
We are having this podcast for a reason, and also to understand how the minds of this individual works and what works for them. And the
Wait, sorry,
idea
I
is-
beg to differ because right now we're in an age where they are teaching what they call them primary school students, secondary school students how to code. Coupled with their education. Now,
Uncle
if we,
Docs.
now you are
no,
proving
sorry,
our
Docs.
point
I'm
Okay.
a coder.
that
Uncle
Okay.
Docs, I am a professional coder and I have been coding for 23 years.
okay,
So I know what you are talking about. And the age, for me, I believe the age to when you should start learning how to code is age 10.
10.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it makes sense when they are teaching. But when you say coding is an intellectual endeavor. So they are started, you start introducing kids to it so that they can, for the sake of awareness and some other purposes, is highly intellectual. For example, you cannot learn how to code. You want to learn how to code and you are learning 10 things at the same time. It doesn't work. I can
Okay.
beat my chest.
Oh,
I don't care if you're a genius.
No. I think no.
You
I have
cited
to
the wrong
interrupt.
example.
No. I didn't cite the real example.
Okay.
Now, when I'm talking about learning and learning multiple things, I'm not saying learning multiple things simultaneously.
Uh-huh.
No. For example, when I started learning, what they call it, I started learning video editing. Of course, I had started doing some other things, but when it was time for video editing, there was a dedication for a period
Exactly.
to gain mastery.
Exactly.
So we
Now,
need to
see
spell
how
it out.
excited
See,
No.
Uncle Dots, we need to now
When
spell
you
it
do
out.
that,
Now,
when you
check
do
it
that
out,
over
check it out.
time, at the end of the day, you still master all these things.
In a duration of, let's say, for
it does not
example,
mean that you want to
no,
juggle everything together.
I picked up, let me tell you what I did.
Yeah.
I picked up a book. A friend of mine bought it. Dummy for cinematography. The Dummy franchise.
Everything. There's dummy for everything.
For everything. The Dummy franchise. I picked up the book for cinematography. You know, of course, they teach you like they're speaking to
cinematography for dummies.
cinematography for dummies. Thank you. Oh, but you read that book?
No, I have
Okay.
a lot of dummies.
Oh, all right. So, I picked up that book and in about, I think, a month, I read it and I was so amazed, like, wow. And I could remember almost everything because the way they explain, it's like they're explaining to children.
You read it as an adult, and as an adult, you pay attention. You read it on purpose.
No, because there was now the part of, I said something, if I could turn back the hands of time, things would have been different. We have people who, they knew what they wanted to do from secondary school. They started paying attention to it. They were serious. They were reading books and all.
This is my point. My point is that after school, we have different sectors. There is the formal sector. There is the informal sector. The informal sector is not necessarily for those who are not educated. So in that informal sector, we have artisans, we have some other skills like the creative skills and some of the things that someone can pick up. You don't have to go to the university to learn them, and you can learn them in addition to your studies while you are in the university or you are in the polytechnic. That falls into the category of what you're saying. But in our society, as we have the informal sector, we also have the formal sector. Some people want to go into the formal sector, but they are not aware of how it works because they are not properly educated about how, number one, how the labor market works. Number two, where to find such information. you need to understand that these types of companies, they put out their advertisements probably in June or July. So if you are out there in September trying to get a job in that sector, you have missed it for that year. This is where the knowledge of the labor market comes to play. Now, you need to know the labor market, the different players, the different segments, when the timing factor. And the third thing that you need to know is, how do you prepare? Now, I know that so how do you prepare? I'll give you an example. In the banking sector in Nigeria, they have different ways by which they recruit. There are some that they have their direct recruitment that they employ, they call them graduate training. The graduate training program, they do it probably once or twice a year. And to do it, you need to write, they will announce, they will advertise, you have to apply. They will advertise for maybe one Saturday when everybody will cluster, and you will write a job aptitude test. Yeah. So if you are in the university during your NYSC, they say, finally, I have escaped the university. You are relaxing. When during that 1 year, you could have tidy up your resume, build your CV properly, buy a book on a job aptitude test, practice it very well that you are ready to gain the job, learn interviewing skills and everything. If you missed all of that and suddenly you graduate from school, and you are wondering, saying, I have not gotten a job. Because when young people, people that are younger than me, I'm still very young, approach me to say, I'm looking for a job, I always ask them, where and how have you actually searched for the job? Because someone is just already banking on the fact. You go back to your parents, your parents say, my child has been, and she's calling, your dad and your mom are calling, or your uncles or your brother, put your brother somewhere. Your nephew has graduated from school, fix them up somewhere. They are still talking like this was 30 years ago. When that young person should be the one educating everybody that, you have to register on some job sites in Nigeria. He is the one who should tell you the top 5 job sites in Nigeria where you can upload your CV. He is the one who should tell you that there is a boot camp that you can enroll immediately after school, and they will prepare you this way or that way or that way.
Emperor, 2 sides of a coin. You are speaking for the formal folks. I am speaking for the informal folks. I mean, on LinkedIn today, put your details in, and you say, okay, I'm a cinematographer, shoot, edit, use Canva, use CapCut, so on and so forth. And before you know what's happening, you start seeing notifications on.
You will not get a job.
Okay. No.
I'm a LinkedIn expert.
Okay.
I'm on you.
Wait, hold on. I'm coming, right. Please. You see notifications. You apply. The next thing they're asking for is reels. They are not asking you for what can you do.
Yeah.
Are you able to deliver? For example, our world is a funny place. It's a funny place. I am for what you have said, but I would love you to see this point of view. I have someone in the organization where I was working. He came in as an intern. They were paying him 5,000 naira in that organization. From that organization, he learned video editing, Premiere Pro, After Effects, learned how to use the TriCaster. I'm talking about somebody who has never been to the university. Now, I'm not downplaying education. Education is important. Now, he learned all this, mastered it. Before you know what's happening, 5,000, he got a job at another organization that is within this axis.
Yeah.
They paid him 65,000. Before you know what's up, when he was living there, he was being paid 85,000. To move to the next job of 150,000. After that, I don't want to mention names of these organizations. Then he moved to another broadcast house. Then before this economy had a downturn, they paid him 200,000. Do you know this guy resigned 3 months after? Why? He said, this organization that I'm in is not challenging enough. It will dampen my skill set and make me not valuable in the market.
So that guy is going somewhere.
Now, I'm coming, please. Now, this is someone who has not been through the 4 walls of university. I mean, no class. Now, this guy left. When he was earning 200,000, the organization where I was, where he was earning, they were giving him 5,000 stipend. The people he left there, his bosses, to the level of a producer, weren't earning 200 at that point in time. So this is two sides of a coin. We have the formal sector, and we have the informal sector.
It's not two sides of a coin, Uncle Talks. Because now, when we are talking generally, we cannot talk based on some exceptional cases. That guy, you see, if you don't have a purpose or you don't have a drive in life, let's not say purpose now. If you don't have a drive, the university does not give drive. You can be fortunate to discover yourself, to develop it while you are in the university.
Did you see that video that's trending right now? On the guy who had worked in the banking sector for 16 years. You didn't bump into it? No. Oh, please. It just recently, like I'm talking about it like a week. He even did another video to explain why it's been that way. He said, I have been in the banking industry for 16 years and I have absolutely nothing to show for it. Of course, purpose comes into play.
Exactly. So the university is not what will give you purpose. And if you don't have the opportunity or you didn't have the opportunity to go to the university, you can still have, develop a drive. And this drive, no matter where you find yourself, everybody will see that you are different. That guy now, you have only talked about his life from the time you met him. If you speak with those who knew him 10 years before you, they will tell you that they are not surprised is where he is today. So that's not the general case. So you talked about LinkedIn. I'm going to take you one step further on LinkedIn. I started a company some years ago in Europe, and I'll tell you that without LinkedIn, I would never have had my financial breakthrough. And what happened was that I had to learn how LinkedIn works, because you cannot, what you just said now, you are there. Anywhere you have millions of people can get lost. Your information can be lost. Anything can be lost. All the things that you think you are posting can be lost. There's a way you measure. You have to learn how to measure. There's a way you measure your performance on LinkedIn. When someone goes on LinkedIn to search, I'm looking for a cinematographer, you will see maybe 200,000. 200,000 name will pop up on thousands of pages. If your name does not show up on the first 5 pages, the guy will not even see you, even though you are there. If you are fortunate enough that someone is looking for your type of skill within your location can give you an advantage, and you will pop up at the top because you are among the few people within that location. Otherwise, you are lost in the crowd. So nothing is automatic. You see, that is where the power, nobody can downplay knowledge. Knowledge is power. Knowledge of the economy, the labor market of where the country, the economy of the country, even if you were to be running a business. So you need to understand the skills that you need to get include, the course, whatever course you are studying in the university. You are there for 4 years. Don't waste 4 years or 5 years of your life. That is very important.
You have to
make it count. Make the 4 year, 5 years count. There are many engineers today. There are many engineers that are working in the banking sector. And in fact, some years ago, I was writing GMAT. GMAT is Graduate Management Aptitude Test. So I was writing this exam, and there was an elderly man sitting beside me. I didn't know that I was writing GMAT exam with the CEO of UBA Bank. So the man was about to retire. He was almost 60, some months to 60, I think, at that time. So he was about to retire. He was doing a PhD online. So he just thought, after retirement, let me go to a physical university. He wanted to cross, and he needed to write the exam. So when I wrote the exam and I passed, and I was then at a point we had a small break, and we got talking. So no, I was the first to finish. I always finish my exams very quickly. Today I will take more time, a bit more time, but then I used to do it very quickly. So he asked me of my score. When I told him, he looked at me and said, wow, that was very good. Then he introduced himself to me, and I was like, wow. So I went to check his bio, and I saw that he made a first class or so, or 2-1 in civil engineering in 1984 from University of Lagos. But that civil engineer never practiced as a civil engineer. He started his career as a banker till he retired He thought he was going into academics, but he went to start a new bank. So he is still in the banking sector as the chairman of a bank today. But the point I'm trying to say is that what is the business of civil engineering and banking? Do you know? I know the answer. The answer is this transferable skill. Civil engineering is a numeric and analytical discipline. So if even though it's not going to be constructing something for them in the bank necessarily, but
He has
it's
a
analytical, so he had
mathematical mind.
something
Yeah.
to transfer from his education, and that's what many people are missing. When you lose all the time, when you let that 4-5 years go into waste, you can become a broadcaster, a media person. Do you know that I know someone who did an MBA with the goal that he would join Barclays Bank in the 80s? But by the time he graduated, Barclays Bank had left Nigeria. He ended up becoming a journalist. But he was doing all these, world financial analytics and all of that, because you can't bring someone who does not know about finance to handle that sector, even though this is media, this is journalism or whatever it is called.
There's a need for a background.
That background,
There is a need for knowledge in whatever it is you are doing.
yes.
There is a need for I was thinking about this morning. Most importantly, at a global level, that wherever you find yourself, the truth is, what we even celebrate here, when you get abroad, you just realize you are lost. What we celebrate here, you just realize you are lost in the system, and you have to recalibrate, re-navigate to have a footing. But a lot of people traveled out of the country with all they had, and they just realized that I am nowhere to be found. Even the emperor said it. He said after schooling in France, he said in a previous episode, he said after schooling in France,
for 1.5 years, I was unemployed.
So what did he do? A re-navigation to realize, okay, this is what's working. I remember he mentioned some things. I don't know, am I permitted to say them? But and there's a lot to learn from that. So at times, you might even have your plans and everything, and life will just, help make you sit down. Your foundation in knowledge, in seeking, researching, not being laid back, not being lackadaisical. Yes, Papi Sam, we'll call it a day when you're done.
So that means that there's a need to be flexible and not be rigid after school, to achieve more and do more with yourself. Because sometimes, like I said earlier, life may not give to you what you're exactly looking for. But there are options that may be way better than that you should embrace and you should take, basically. So,
all right, head of the family.
Yes, thank you very much, Uncle Tokes. I want to say that we keep saying, once upon a time, they told us that the earth is spherical. But today, we are told that the world is now flat. So it doesn't matter that someone is waking up right now in the United States and everybody can walk in the same time, So that thing that you're doing, you are a cinematographer, you are an editor and everything. You don't have to limit yourself. That informal skill that you have developed, you don't necessarily need to have clients only in this part of the world. One of my younger ones, once upon a time, was writing for people in the United States. It was a ghostwriter. So that educational skills, that tenacity, that organizational skill, that time management skills, that paying attention to details, all these problem solving skills that you acquire in the course of your study is relevant and is going to be applicable not just within this climate but in the flat world where we now live.
Yeah, thank you very much. Family members, I can type on the typewriter, ASDF semicolon.
Yeah, I can do that too.
Oh, beautiful. Yes, that brings us to the end of this amazing program. Learn, grow, develop, read books, listen to messages, listen to motivational talks that can spur you into action. Don't just sit back, don't relax, don't be lackadaisical. Ensure you are putting every effort, to make sure that you become who you are destined to be. Of course, you've listened to the family members speak, and I believe that you've learned one or two. Most importantly, get to apply them. This brings us to the end of the program. Please connect with us on our social media platforms, like, share, comment, and also click on the notification bell on our YouTube channel so that you can be notified anytime we have newer content. Of course, this is made proudly possible by Prowess Pictures Limited. Happy people!
Happy family!
Thank you for being a part of this, and God bless you. Enjoy.